My name's Mandy Connor and I'm a teacher of the deaf. I work for the Education Department of South Australia in the Early Intervention Service for deaf, hard of hearing children. And in my 4th year of uni, I did a prac in a primary school that had a deaf unit. And there was a deaf child in my class. And then somebody would come in with her and she was a teacher of the deaf. And I just thought, wow, this is a really interesting job. I decided that I wanted to be a teacher of the deaf.
My name is Sandra DeFava and I'm a deaf teacher of the deaf, a TOD. I've worked in deaf centres and in schools for 18 years. When I was at high school, I went to a deaf centre and it was the first time I saw other deaf students. I knew immediately that was for me. I decided I wanted to become a teacher of the deaf so I could give future students the same equal access and opportunities for success that I'd experienced.
My name's Hannah King. I am a teacher of the deaf and I work at Clemzig Centre for Deaf Education. My oldest daughter had just started school and she was really struggling with her literacy and she wasn't progressing, and actually it turned out she had a moderate hearing loss. And so what then happened was she got lots of support with an itinerant teacher of the deaf, and her ability to succeed in the classroom and advocate for herself increased significantly. And at that time I thought, I actually really want to be part of this. It was such a huge difference for my daughter. It was something I wanted to be able to do for other students.
My name's Jasmine Darry and I'm a teacher of the deaf. And I work at the moment in hearing support services as a special educator hearing for Whyalla, Port Augusta and the Far North. I work with kids in regional areas and regional and remote. In mainstream schools, I work with children birth to year 12 and do a lot of travel and outreach. So I'm based in Adelaide and I travel out to see kids in their schools and see their teachers and leadership.
I think that teachers of the deaf have got a wealth of knowledge through their training. They're very passionate educators. They've always got the best interests of each student at heart.
Having teachers that understand about sensory needs, about the kinds of challenges that students with autism might have in a typical classroom, about physical needs and physical disabilities, and being able to kind of meld that with the language and literacy learning from a deaf perspective is really important. I would say is that you can definitely learn to be a teacher of the deaf.
It's a really diverse job, whether it's meeting with staff, whether it's working one-on-one with the child, whether it's assessing, doing assessments, collecting data, setting up equipment. Every day is different and there's just so many different projects and things to work on. Some of it's innovative and trying to be proactive, and some of it is about being creative and thinking how to get services to places that are remote or regional, or how to meet a family's need.
A lot of the time when we're reading, it's not just about them hearing a story, it's about unpacking the vocabulary, the language, talking about what they're seeing visually, talking about what's happening and the inner thoughts of the characters. We actually spend extended periods of time unpacking and developing language skills.
Teachers of the deaf work through individualised teaching and small integrated group work. We provide a modified curriculum as well as any adjustments and accommodations that might be needed.
And I think one thing I would say is when you provide the right environment, when you have the right team around those students, you can actually see them flourish. Those students deserve an excellent education, the same as any other student.
My goal is for deaf students to have the same high aspirations as other students and achieve equality. My favourite thing about my job is when I'm teaching and I see a student grasp a new concept and feel really satisfied with their progress and with their learning. Seeing a student learn to develop independence and become intrinsically motivated to learn, it feels really great seeing that happen.
Having an education is important because it gives people opportunities. It lets them find the pathway and achieve what they're capable of.
I really enjoy my job a lot, and I feel really lucky, and not a lot of people can come to work and feel like, great, I'm here again, and want to be here. And that's how I feel genuinely about what I do. Lucky me.
I get to see children doing their first signs, I get to see children taking their first steps, saying their first words, and the connection with the families is really, really a wonderful part of my job. I had one parent who I was working with who had a deaf child and she was pregnant. The baby arrived and I got a phone call from this mum and she said, "Mandy, I've had my baby." And I was like, "Oh, congratulations." And she said, "Guess what? He's deaf." Yeah, that was one of those moments for me that I thought, yeah, I love my job.
There's not enough teachers of the deaf to fill the roles that are available. There's a great need out there and it's really difficult to service without enough roles and without enough people to fill those roles. And I think people aren't aware that it's a career option, and if people knew, I guess, more about this career path, I think it would be really popular.